gets ready to go.
Personnel Affairs Committee is being held on Monday, June 1st, 2020 at 7 p.m. in teleconference. As chairman of the Personnel Administrative Affairs Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are utilizing WebEx through the city's IT department for this electronic meeting. All members of the Personnel Administrative Affairs Committee have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through this platform, and the public has access to listen in to this meeting through dialing the following number, 978-990-5298, and using the password 273974. The public may also view this meeting on Comcast Channel 16. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting through public postings. Instructions have also been provided on the City of Nashua's website at www.nashuanh.gov and publicly noticed at City Hall in the Public Health Department. If anybody has a problem accessing the meeting via phone or Channel 16, please call 603-821-2049 and they will help you connect. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting via the methods mentioned above, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call. So let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance by our clerk, Alderman Kelly.
Thank you, Alderman Karen. You can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
and I am
great.
here, and I am alone, and I can hear everyone.
Great. Alderman Clemens. Sorry, I'm reading the wrong line. Alderman Cleaver.
Yes,
No,
I'm
that's right.
I'm present, and I have my daughter with me, and we're doing social distance.
Thank you. Alderman Clemens. Alderman Lopez. And Alderwoman Kelly is here. I can hear everyone, and I am doing social distancing.
Okay.
So we have 3 members present.
Okay. And also in attendance is Alderman Klee and His Honor Mayor Donchess. So we'll start with communications.
There is none.
Okay. Interviews. The Historic District Commission, Penny Paju has withdrawn her recommendation.
Okay.
Yes, yes, Madam Chair. Ms. Pardo had some things come up and she decided she no longer has the time to devote to the Historic District Commission. And so with regret, I have to say that she can no longer serve, so we should just take that off the agenda on future meetings.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Okay. The next two appointees.
Yes, so the Electric Aggregation Committee, we have Robert Blaisdell with a new member appointment of 24 Railroad Square in Nashua with a term to expire May 31st, 2023. And Lauren Slutton, also a new member, 47 Concord Street, Nashua, with a term to expire May 31st, 2023. I think everybody's a new member to this committee.
So
Okay.
I will, if you wish, Madam Chair, I can introduce Mr. Ludden.
Yes, please.
And before doing that, I will just review this legislation with you a little bit because it's been a while. But the legislature, the New Hampshire legislature in the last session authorized community aggregation of electric power. And what this means is the legislature authorized communities to buy power in bulk for all Eversource customers unless those customers decide to drop out. However, a certain procedure has to be followed, which is that the community needs to appoint an aggregation committee who look in detail at the issue and at the reasons and pros and cons for making the decision to undertake aggregation, and then report to the Board of Aldermen, because in the end, the Board of Aldermen needs to approve aggregation for Nashua, and the governing body of any community needs to approve an aggregation project. Now, our energy manager, Doria Brown, has been working very hard on this, and the developments have been interesting. There are a group of communities who are interested in aggregation, and they, under the leadership of a gentleman up in Lebanon and another in Concord, who have been involved with aggregation in the past, they are working to establish a group of communities who together would aggregate, in other words, buy power in bulk for all of the communities under a certain arrangement that could be worked out, a governing arrangement that could be worked out. So that's what's being discussed. And there have been various meetings, or at least one meeting at the PUC, I think actually two, but one of which I was a part of, where the PUC staff and Eversource and some of the aggregation advocates have been talking through the details of the regulation that the PUC will issue pursuant to this. These regulations will address very technical issues such as when you can opt in and out, things like that, and the procedures by which that has to be done, the billing procedures, things like that. In any event, we wish to move forward with the aggregation committee, and we have two appointments before you, and I have talked to a third member. He's not on the agenda yet, but I think will be. Mr. Lutton is the nominee who is before you. Mr. Lutton, as you can see from his bio, he develops and deploys unified communications and contact center solutions for Avaya Corporation. In other words, he's very technical, and that's helpful. I know that Mr. Lutton is a very analytical thinker. He's very and has a technical background, and given that, and his devotion to Nashua, which is very strong, I believe he will be an excellent member of the aggregation committee, and strongly recommend him for confirmation. And with that, I would simply ask Mr. Lutton to tell you a little bit about himself and touch on his interest in being on the committee.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Lutton?
Thank you very much for that introduction, Mr. Mayor. I moved to Nashua about 20 years ago, originally to Clock Tower Place and now up on Concord Street, because I wanted to be in a city with a downtown that was walkable. I've really enjoyed living in Nashua now, and so my background, as the mayor said, is very technical. I have been in software for my entire career, and from a business perspective, I have founded a software company and taken it to a successful initial public offering. And so I have experience with the complete life cycle of businesses. I've started a couple of businesses over the years. So I have a strong business aptitude. In terms of energy, this came up because I've had a particularly strong interest in renewable energies and in solar energy. But when the topic of aggregation came up, that's something that I was very interested in as well. And so the idea of community power, the idea of being able to aggregate our purchasing power, reduce the cost to city residents, is something that I'm very interested in. I think that's probably a good start. If you've got questions about me, my background, and so forth, I'm glad to answer any of them.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from committee members?
I just have a comment, if I could.
Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes, I just wanted to thank you for coming forward for this position. I think it's going to be a great project for downtown. I'm the liaison to the Energy and Environment Committee. And so we've been talking about this for a little while. So I appreciate your willingness to serve, and I think your technical background will come in handy.
Thank you very much.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, I just want
Okay,
to comment
Mr.
and let you guys know that I joined the meeting. This is Tom.
Alderman Lopez, welcome. Do you
Thank
have
you.
something for us?
Nope, just wanted to make sure you guys knew that I was here. I noticed some of you guys are on phone.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, if there's nothing else, Mr. Lutton will be taking up
I have a
your.
question. I have a question for the mayor.
I'm sorry. Alderman Cleaver,
Alderman
thank you.
Cleaver has a question for the mayor.
Absolutely.
What is the timeline for the committee? You have any?
Well, we're not totally sure. Of course, there's been some delay as a result of the pandemic, but the issue of and we're calling this community choice power. The issue of community choice power is evolving, and when I originally proposed this to the Board of Aldermen, it seemed that we might be, if we were to undertake it, the community choice power, that the city might be on its own doing this for Nashua residents. But since that time, this network of other communities, Lebanon is one, and there are other, Lebanon is a leading community. There are others that are involved, have been talking jointly about trying to develop a multi-community community choice power organization. So that will that will take longer than if we did it on our own, but in the end will probably result in a more effective project. So I think we have to see how the communities come together. Also, to some degree, we are subject to the timing of the PUC because they do need to issue regulations, and they haven't done that yet, although there are meetings where the details of those regulations are being discussed. So within a year, I would say this may be underway, but it's not going to be, and of course, our committee needs to meet and understand all the issues and formulate their conclusions, but I don't think it'll be much sooner than a year.
The committee's going to meet ASAP, though, right?
They are. Now we need a 3-member committee, and as soon as we can get them together, Dory is actually in communications. With I believe Mr. Lutton, Dory, the energy manager, and Mr. Blaisdell, and have one or both of them have been included with some of the discussions. There've been seminars and other events taking place, and there's been some participation by the nominees already. But yes, they are going to meet. We're going to get them together as soon as we can.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Anything else?
Alderwoman, yeah, if I could actually ask a question through you to the mayor.
Sure. Certainly, Alderwoman Kelly.
Thank you. So, some of the things you were just chatting through, I wanted to know if we're looking at aggregating with other communities within a year or so. I know when I talked with Doria last, she was saying that she was interested in locking in the rates because the rates have dropped due to where we are right now. So my question is, would the benefits of going in with a community outweigh the benefits of locking in a lower rate because of the situation right now?
Well, I think, of course, our committee can consider that question, but I think right now, to me, it looks like combining with the other communities would be very beneficial. First of all, Eversource is technically neutral on this, and they're certainly cooperating, but there are certain issues with Eversource that need to be worked through in terms of the regulations that the PUC is going to be issuing. Doria could explain. Doria's been involved in this in a very extensive way. Doria Brown, the energy manager. But things like when the the community choice project would need to go into the market to buy electricity, must it correspond with the time when Eversource is doing it? Eversource wants the regulations to provide that we have to go in at the same during the same time period, and I think I'm relating this correctly. The community choice power people would rather not do it that way, so that they can everybody's not in the market at the same time. Things like that need to be worked through, and it helps to have the other communities involved, because there are a couple of people, one from Lebanon, whose name is Bilo. He's actually a state senator, and is involved with the town as well. And there's a gentleman in Concord who's been involved with aggregation in the past, who are helping work through these technical issues, which we would have trouble with, and they are a very valuable resource for us. So this is a long answer, but I'm trying to give you some context. It appears that it would be better with the other communities for the reasons I've stated. And in addition, we really couldn't undertake this now because the PUC still needs to issue their regulations, which would govern many of the specific details regarding how the project or how community choice power would actually run.
Thank you.
Okay. You're all set, Alderwoman Kelly?
I am. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Mr. Lutton, we will take up your nomination later on in the meeting. And thank you for your willingness to serve on this committee.
Thank you for considering my nomination, and I presume that it's time for me to leave.
Well, you can either leave or
You
stick
can
around to
stay.
see. It won't take long. They'll get to it pretty quickly, I think.
Well, then
We will, Mayor.
then I'll just mute and stay.
All right. Thank you. Mayor, you have a second nomination, Mr. Robert Blaisdell. Do you have some information? And is he here?
He is not here, Madam Chair, but he has a very extensive resume. I know it's the normal procedure for the committee to interview any applicant, and if you wish to stick with that, that's I certainly don't object to that. But I do throw out the suggestion that Mr. Blaisdell is a very well-known member of the community. He's operates the Marsden Group, which is a defense-related contractor, which is located downtown in Railroad Square. They've been there for many years. His wife owns a downtown business. So he has a technical background. I mean, obviously, he's been running this business for a long time. He is a veteran. He's been in the Air Force, I believe. He has a engineering degree, I think. So if the committee, only if, under the circumstances of the COVID-19 virus and all these remote meetings, which are difficult to put together, if the committee were so disposed, he, I think, will be a valuable member of the committee. And if you wanted to, you could recommend him without the interview. But I certainly understand if you want to meet again and have him come in for the interview.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. I have no problem with changing it up a little, but I'd really like some feedback from the members of the committee, because we certainly don't want to make a precedent, but because we have not been able to have a meeting for the last 2 months, if the committee so wishes to take up Mr. Blaisdell's nomination, I don't have a problem with that. So I'd like to hear from the committee members.
Yes.
Alderwoman Kelly.
Thank you. So I think he's very well qualified. I appreciate you bringing him forward. I would feel more comfortable just doing our normal process and interviewing him. I know we originally had some discussion on whether this committee needed to be formed pretty quickly in order to lock in the rates or whatever. But it sounds like it's going to be a longer process and there's still some learning to do. So I don't see any problem with deferring this until Mr. Blaisdell can join us.
Now,
Okay.
excuse me for interrupting, but did Mr. Blaisdell, is he on the call? Because I got a text that he's trying to log in. But,
oh. No.
Let me check, see if I can confirm that. But apparently he's not on the call.
Okay. All right. Well, while you're doing that, Mayor, I will continue to poll the other committee members. How's that?
That's fine.
Alderman Cleaver, how do you feel?
I would be fine with moving forward with Mr. Blaisdell's nomination. Under the circumstances, I'm aware of him, and he's very well qualified, and a good community person in every way. So I would be satisfied with the mayor's recommendation and move forward.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And Alderman Lopez?
My opinion, honestly, is that I think we should interview him. I think knowing him or being aware of him sets a bad precedent in terms of some people are more more privileged than others in terms of being able to access volunteer committees. And then, I mean, I don't personally know him, so that's not the case here. But I wouldn't subscribe to that logic. And then, if we are looking at it as the COVID-19 issue, I think we should make it a point to meet as often as we need to do city business. So I don't necessarily have anything against Mr. Blaisdell. His resume is extremely impressive. I just don't think there's a good reason for moving this forward like that. Not one that wouldn't
Okay.
blow up in our face later anyway.
Okay. So let me.
All right, Madam Chair, it's
Mayor?
possible, I apologize for interrupting again, but
No, that's okay.
so Mr. Blaisdell thought it was a Zoom meeting and therefore isn't here yet, but he may, I'm being told, of course, this is, from Bob, Mr. Blaisdell to Ms. Blaisdell to Cheryl to me, but I'm hearing that he's trying to log in right now.
Okay. All right. Well, we can put a hold on that in the motion and move on to the other parts of the committee and meeting and come back if that's
Okay.
okay with the committee members.
I'm fine.
Makes sense to me.
Can you, Alderman Cleaver?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Then let's go to the next part of our agenda, which is application to license hawkers, peddlers, vendors license.
There are none.
There are none. Okay. So we had unfinished business.
Oh, are you going to come back to the appointments by the mayor completely?
Yeah,
That's
let's
fine.
come back. Okay.
There's none.
Unfinished business. There is none. New business resolution.
We have before us R20-021, establishing an information technology study committee.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Mayor, can you hear me, Mayor?
Yes, I think with everything going on, we really haven't come back to you with more information about that. So I think you should table it and we'll try to do something for your next meeting.
Okay. All right. You heard the discussion. Could I have a motion?
I moved to table R20-021. I moved my mouse. Yeah. By roll call.
Okay. Would you please call the roll?
Alderman Cleaver.
Yes.
Alderman Clemens. Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman Karen.
Yes.
And Alderwoman Kelly is a yes.
Okay. So that motion passes to recommend tabling R-20-021. Thank you. New business ordinances.
There are none.
Okay. And we're leaving other tabled in committee will stand. Okay. Mayor, has anybody found Mr. Blaisdell?
Not yet, Madam Chair. I don't know what the issue is, but again, it's three-way, Mr. Blaisdell to Ms. Blaisdell to Cheryl to me. So I don't know if information's getting lost, but he should have been on already if he had the right information.
Right.
Alderman Karen, I have
And
a
I did
discussion
read it.
item.
I'm sorry.
I have a discussion item that we could address, and I wanted it would be helpful if the mayor were present for it, so we could talk about that before taking up nominations.
Certainly. Okay. Give them a little bit more time.
Yeah. So my
Okay.
discussion item is pretty
Alderman
important too, I
Mosley.
think.
Go ahead, Alderman Lopez.
Mayor, I was hoping you could give us an update, if there is one, about we had conversations towards the end of last year about organizing a committee to look at mental health issues in the greater Nashua area. We were particularly concerned about the surge in suicide rates and it was following the suicide of of a first responder. I don't know where minutes for that would be. I was wondering if maybe you could just give us an overview because I can't imagine things have gotten better with the stay-at-home order and all of the unrest we're experiencing. So I'd love an update on that committee and see if there's anything we can do to help it.
Well, you're right that certainly our new set of circumstances has exacerbated the problem. We know, for example, that during this time when we have encouraged telehealth visits, so our employees and others, but our employees in our case, can consult with medical providers via Zoom and other mechanisms, that the number one request for telehealth visits has to do with mental health issues, depression, and things like that. People are really upset and anxious, and we all understand why that is because we feel the same things. In any event, you're right that the issue has increased. Now, unfortunately, since we met, the COVID-19 virus did hit, and which has been very consuming. So I can't say that we've made a lot of progress on that, but you've reminded me about it, and we need to take it up again, and I will pursue that, but I can't report any progress since we kind of met informally and began to work on it earlier in the year.
So you haven't solved all the mental health issues in the city yet?
No, I have not.
All right, next month.
Anything else, Alderman Lopez?
No, I just wanted to see where that was at and if there's any kind of steps. I had recently been planning the Tree Streets Block Party to focus on things like adverse childhood experiences. And I mean, even I had to ultimately concede that event because with the governor's stay-at-home order, how can I organize a large-scale event? Even if I tried to convert it into a drive-in concert kind of a model. And that was kind of my hope was to use that as a way to bring people together. I know there's a lot of other events that are similar, like the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention has a walk out of the darkness. The Awareness is Healing brings awareness to people in recovery. And we've lost all that. We've lost even a lot of the peer support programs are struggling to maintain a platform for their users through like Facebook, which is not great for HIPAA, through messenger groups. People are really struggling, and communities are trying to come together, but just we need more resources, I think. And I'm concerned about what this current crisis is going to reveal about the one that we've already had identified.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, Alderman Karen. I'm sorry, this is
Sure. Alderman
thank you.
Clee.
Alderman Clee, yes. I want to speak to something that Alderman Lopez had said. I can tell you that through this pandemic, beyond the I hate to say normal suicide, but beyond that, I'm hearing about people who have either tried to take their lives or have successfully taken their lives because of this pandemic. And I've tried to get their family members to do the 211, contact Greater Mental Health, go through NAMI and different things. So it's hitting much harder than it was prior to the pandemic. And anything we can do to move it along would be incredible. So.
Right. Thank you. Okay, any news, Mayor?
No, we're trying to communicate. Cheryl has resent the link, but I can't promise anything.
Okay, so
Alderwoman Karen.
Yes, Alderwoman Kelly.
I did also just resend it from my account as well to see if that would help. So I'm keeping an eye to see if he gets on.
Okay, all right. Well, in the meantime, why don't we at least put forward the nomination of Mr. Lutton. Could you do that, Alderwoman Kelly?
I sure can. It would be my pleasure.
All right. Thank you.
We are jumping back to appointments by the mayor. Historic District is tabled, and we have Mr. Lutton of 47 Concord Street, Nashua, New Hampshire, with a term to expire May 31st, 2023. And I move for appointment. I can't remember what we say. I'm sorry.
Confirmation.
Confirmation. Thank you. Confirmation.
You're welcome.
I've had
Okay,
about
would you
5
please
tabs
call the roll?
open.
Will you please call the roll?
Sure can. Alderman Karen.
Yes.
Alderman Clement. Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderwoman Kelly is a yes. Alderman Cleaver.
Affirmative.
Okay.
We have
So the
3 yays.
You mean 4?
Of course I do.
Yes. Okay. 4. 4. Okay. So the appointment to the committee of Mr. Lawrence Lutton has been approved.
Pardon, Madam
don't
Chair,
know how-
this point of order.
Yes.
This is Jim McLean. Mr. Blaisdell called me. Hopefully I gave him the correct information to call into this meeting.
Okay.
I read it.
Okay.
All right, so he is currently trying to log in.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. We'll wait a few more minutes if that is the pleasure of the committee.
Yeah, I feel like we owe it to him.
Sounds good to
Okay.
me.
Okay. Alderman Cleaver.
Poor guy's trying to get on.
Yeah, this is very exciting. I'm good to wait.
We better have some good questions for him.
Like,
Well,
check
I
his
will
resume to
take
make
one
sure.
moment to thank the committee for confirming my appointment and thank the mayor for asking me to join.
Well, thank you. And thank you again for agreeing to take part in this committee.
All right, Madam Chair. So I got this text. The technology is just such a struggle on many different occasions, but here's the
Absolutely.
text. He has tried several times. Someone told him to try a different number. He can hear the meeting, but you can't hear him. Oh, God.
Oh, I know what that sounds like.
So I've asked, well, what's
Oh,
his phone number? If I could get him on the phone, you could talk to him through my phone.
absolutely.
But but again, we're going through several different people here.
Too many numbers.
Yes.
It shows him as being logged in, but he's not. And he's not
Yeah.
muted.
Is
So
that him?
he's here. He's muted. Mr. Blaisdell, you're muted.
Am I muted now?
Yay!
You're unmuted.
No.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Okay, so just so everybody understands, I tried Teams, I tried Zoom, I tried the directions in the online meeting thing, called the numbers. I heard you, but you couldn't hear me on a telephone. So I just got out of work. I apologize for being late.
All right.
That's
Well,
okay.
thank you, Mr. Blaisdell.
Okay, Mayor, you're on.
Well, Madam Chair, I did introduce Mr. Blaisdell to some degree already. He, of course, as I mentioned, he's operated a business downtown, the Marzen Group, for 20 years. He has a very technical background. Marzen is a defense-related business. He's previously worked for MITRE. He's been in the Air Force. He has a Bachelor of Science degree from Northeastern, as well as some postgraduate work at BU. He has indicated that he's very interested in doing something for the community. And Mr. Blaisdell and I have talked about the concept of community choice power. He's very interested in that concept and would very much like to be on the committee. I believe he has already at least participated in some seminars and things, or listened to some seminars that Doria Brown, the energy manager, introduced him to. So he's really already working on the issue. And therefore, obviously he's a very strong nominee. And I asked the committee to confirm his nomination, of course. And I will turn it over to Mr. Blaisdell to give you a short explanation of his background and his interest in the committee.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Blaisdell, your turn.
Okay, so I've been the president of Meerson Group now for over 20 years. It's a group that basically does defense work using various military radio technology and a lot of scientific missile defense concepts. The reason I'm interested in the committee is I'm getting close to my retirement age, and I am very much interested in providing something back to the community. And energy has always been something I'm very interested in, including solar, nuclear, hydro, and gas-related, natural gas-related generations. So I'm getting as smart as I can prior to being on this committee, and am very, very interested in participating.
Okay, thank you. Do we
You're
have
welcome.
any questions from committee members? Alderman Cleaver?
I have no questions. at
Hello?
this time.
Okay, Alderman Lopez.
Yes. First of all, I want to say to Mr. Blaisdell, thank you for both your offering to be part of this committee and also your service. And after looking at your resume, there is one question I would like answered
Sure.
if possible. What is the deal with Maeve? Every other dog in the world likes me and that one doesn't?
I'm sorry?
Maeve?
Oh, yeah, my dog. Oh,
No
my
reason
dog.
for her to hate me. That's my only question.
Oh, okay. I can't speak for my dog.
All right. Well, tell her whatever I did, I apologize for it. And
Well, I don't want you to feel like the Lone Ranger. She either likes you or she doesn't. In some cases, she doesn't like lots of people. So it's not particular to you.
all right, that's more reassuring. Thank you for being willing to step forward for the city, and thank you for putting up with our IT issues. We've been living this world for like 7 months or 7 weeks now, and we're still not getting it right. So
Well, once I'm on, it's fine.
okay, awesome.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Alderman Lopez. Alderman Kelly?
I love that you called on me before I. Yes,
sorry.
I could. No, it's perfect. Loved it.
It's hard when you can't see people.
Yes. So I also wanted to thank you for stepping forward for this committee. I think it's going to be an interesting group of people on the committee, and also I think it has, a lot of potential for the city. I had a couple of comments, mostly comments. I'm glad that I finally know what your company does. I see it every single day and had no idea what you did. So now I do. I appreciate that you went to my alma mater for postgraduate work. And I want to thank you for, already putting in the time and doing some work before you were even put on the committee. I think that shows a great passion. So thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it? Alderman
That
Kelly?
is all I got. Yep.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, well, Mr. Blaisdell, we appreciate you working really hard to get to be heard on the committee, and we're almost done, so your nomination will be coming up shortly, and the final approval will be next Tuesday at the full board meeting. And as the other committee members have said, we thank you very much for offering to sit on this new committee, and we know you'll bring a lot of insight and ideas to that committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. You're
Yeah,
welcome.
this is Alderman
Okay.
Cleaver. I just have one comment, please.
Certainly, Alderman Cleaver.
Yes, I want to thank Mr. Blaisdell for offering to serve on the committee. We really appreciate it. And just to clarify, the final approval will be a board meeting a week from tomorrow.
A week from, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. A week
A
from,
week from tomorrow.
okay, thank you.
Okay. Alderman Kelly, do I have a motion?
You sure do.
All right,
I
thank
would
you.
move that we confirm the appointment of Robert Blaisdell of 24 Railroad Square in Nashua, New Hampshire, with a term to expire May 31st, 2023. And of course, just for the record, we would be confirming him to the Electric and Aggregation Committee.
Okay. And would you please call the roll?
I would love to call the roll. It's my favorite thing. Alderman Karen.
Yes.
Alderman, that is not the one. That is Alderman Cleaver.
Yes.
Alderman Clemens. Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
And Alderwoman Kelly is a yes. You have 4 yes.
Okay. Do we have any remarks by the alderman? None? Okay. No possible non-public session? There is none. Do I have a motion?
I move to adjourn
Alderman,
by roll call.
okay. Motion to adjourn by roll call. Alderman Kelly?
Yeah, sorry. I'm getting there. Alderman Karen.
Yes.
Alderman Clemens. Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly is a yes. And Alderman Cleaver.
Yes.
Okay. Then the Personnel Committee is adjourned at 7:46.